All right, Ray, this is how you do the flick back motion on your stick. It's gonna get it going faster, but the important thing is that you learn it right the first time. So we're gonna start with finding the correct ball position. Anything for the flick back, at least, you either want your men straight up or down or forward. If you have your men back, it's gonna be impossible to do the flick back effectively. Now you can do a stick pass with your men back, but if you're going for speed, you're gonna want your men forward or at least straight up and down. Ball positioning on the man is important as well. You want it in the middle. Now, when you have it in the middle of the man, it's gonna give you the most surface area for you to get that flick back motion happening. If you have it at the edges and whatnot, you're not gonna have nearly as much surface area to, get that ball going and bring it back and drag it back and do that flick back. So now that you have your right positioning, you wanna have your man away about an inch away from the bearing. So from bumper to bearing, you want about an inch. And a good way to find that is just put the man against the wall, put the ball in front of the second man, and then come around it, and you're in the right spot. If you do it too close, you're gonna have a tell, and if you do it too far away, it's just inefficient. So we'll start by putting it here. Now the flick back, instead of dragging it laterally or gaining all your speed laterally, which you can see is slow, especially when I'm so close to the wall. It also isn't nearly as accurate. So instead of doing that lateral motion only, believe me, we did not get rid of the lateral motion. You just add something to it. So instead of doing just the lateral motion, if you look here and I flick my man back just a little, you can see the ball moves. And this is for me just flicking back. I'm not pulling laterally much at all. So that flick back, you can do it even faster, but that's the basic idea, is the flick back. And what you're doing when you flick the ball back is you're not coming up on the ball any more than you already are on the ball. So you're staying in the same position with your five man. Your five man's staying in the same position. It's not going up or back to start. What it's gonna do is it's gonna drag it. And this is a way to develop the flick back motion well, but a way to do it slow and well. So you're essentially just dragging the ball back like that. And you can start practicing that drag back. And make sure your man is staying on the ball the entire time. And so what you can do off of that drag back is speed it up. And once you have an idea of how that motion's gonna feel for you, and it can vary based on how you play and whatnot, but that drag motion is gonna be important to starting this. So once you have your drag motion down, you can start to add some lateral speed to it. And what that's gonna look like is something like this. And take note that the first motion I do is the drag back. It's not the pull. The first motion is that, where I'm doing this drag back, but a lot faster now. And eventually it's gonna become a flick back, but for now it's just a drag back. And if you do it slow and you develop the right form and muscle memory for it to start, it's gonna make doing it fast a lot easier. And it's the same idea for the wall. You want it to just be one motion where you just do the drag back and pull at the same time, and then strike the ball. And you want it to be slow and smooth. You want it to be one motion. If it's multiple staggered motions with, you know, delays in between, it's not going to be as fast and it could be readable. So the important part is with this flick back, now that you have this flick back developing, you don't want to do it when you strike the man with the first man here. You don't want to do it when you actually hit the ball. You want to do it to generate speed. Remember what it's for to generate speed. So it's really important that you get it down in your head that this is the first motion of the pass. The first motion of the pass is the drag back with lateral speed. So you're pulling and dragging back. And you're not coming up on the ball and dragging back, you're just dragging back. That's it, nothing more, nothing less. And then you're just adding some lateral speed to that. So once you get it fast enough, it's gonna look something like this. And you want it to just be nice and smooth. You know, don't sacrifice speed or hitting it harder over, you know, how smooth it is. And it is easy to drop it if you're a little stiff, for sure, especially that leg. And it does generate a lot of speed if you do it right. And it's a little difficult to do if you're just setting up and going. So what I recommend doing is setting it up and then just thinking about it a little. Don't overvalue that lane though. If you think too hard about the lane, you're gonna either misexecute it or hit it too hard. You know, if you're really trying to hit that fast, hard lane, you will hit it fast and hard, and it will bounce off your guy. So if you just think of it as hitting it instantaneously, you know, think about you're sitting here waiting and you see that option open up, and it's just instant. And remember, you're doing that drag back and getting that quick lateral speed in as well at this point now. And the drag back's almost, it's going to be a flick back now for sure. Now, if you want to watch someone do it who's better, I'd recommend watching Tony Spreaderman do it at the Open Singles Final this year at Worlds. Halfway through the match of the second set against Ryan, he started doing it because he was having issues with his 5-bar, and he was doing the same exact thing but on the far wall. So if you want to watch someone who's doing it well, and he also does it moving, which is a good example too of how you want to do it. So you can watch that as well. So last thing you want to do is, you know, get that wall going as well. And it's the same motion as the lane, the same starting motion. So it's almost, everything is almost the same as the lane. Except for that starting motion, except for the ending motion. So the starting motion is the same, that flick back. It's important that you do it right and well from the start, or else you're going to have issues with it. And the one other piece of information I was going to add is, if you're doing it from a moving stick, where you're, you know, weaving it or tossing it around, you want to make sure that you're not doing your toss and then doing it. You want to do it off of your toss, if that makes sense. So a bad example would be is I'm tossing it and I'm doing the motion of my toss as the starting motion, which would be this motion right here. If I do that and then start, it's gonna feel weird and it's not gonna be as fast or as accurate. So what you wanna do is you can still toss it, and I recommend doing it. It's a good option to have. But as soon as you do your toss again, you're not tossing it, you're just hitting it. So if that makes any sense. You just wanna hit it, not off of the toss, but as if you were gonna do another toss again. You just wanna hit it. You don't wanna do the toss again and then hit it, if that makes sense. So you wanna keep that lane wall motion, flick back motion separate from your toss if you're doing a toss. Anyways, that's what I recommend for you, Ray. It's sort of, there's a lot of little things, and yeah, you don't want to make the mistakes that I did, because I had to learn this, by making the mistake and then, sitting down here figuring out what's going on. But this is the best way to do it that I've found so far, especially for generating speed.